Hell Creek, Montana, 67 million years ago. A Tyrannosaurus rex circles a fully grown Triceratops, 9 tons of muscle, bone, and 3 horns designed to kill. Fossil evidence from dozens of Triceratops skulls shows bite marks from T-Rex attacks. But here's what changes everything about this predator-prey relationship. Those same fossils show healed injuries. Triceratops survived T-Rex attacks more than any other prey animal in the Cretaceous. This wasn't a one-sided massacre. This was the most evenly matched battle in dinosaur history. CT scans from 2019 revealed something paleontologists didn't expect. Triceratops horn cores show internal fractures consistent with high-impact collisions, not from fighting each other, from ramming predators. A study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences analyzed bite mark patterns on 18 different Triceratops specimens. Every single skull showed evidence of T-Rex attacks, but 67% showed healed bone, meaning the Triceratops fought back and survived. The reality is more brutal than any documentary shows. T-Rex targeted Triceratops more than any other animal in Hell Creek. Not because it was easy prey, because it was the most abundant large herbivore. 6 tons of meat on a creature built specifically to defend itself. T-Rex didn't have a choice. To survive, it had to crack this defensive fortress, and the fossil record proves it paid a heavy price trying. So what happened when these two apex species collided? The answer rewrites everything we thought we knew about Cretaceous predation. On paper, T-Rex should have dominated every encounter. 40 feet long, 9 tons, bite force measured at 12,800 pounds per square inch. 3 times stronger than a great white shark. Teeth designed to crush bone, not slice through flesh. A jaw that could bite through a car. Add in binocular vision that let it judge distance with predator precision, and legs built for 25-mile-per-hour pursuit. No other predator in Hell Creek came close. But Triceratops wasn't typical prey. 26 feet long, 9 tons, the same weight as T-Rex. 3 horns. 2 brow horns stretching 3 feet long, 1 nasal horn shorter but equally lethal, and a frill extending 7 feet behind its skull, ringed with bony spikes. That frill wasn't decoration. Bone histology studies from 2020 show extensive vascularization, blood vessels that could flush red for threat display, a biological billboard that said, "I'm ready to fight." The head alone weighed over 1,000 pounds. Imagine a battering ram with 3 spears attached, supported by neck muscles powerful enough to flip a car. A 2018 biomechanical analysis calculated Triceratops could generate 16,000 pounds of force in a forward charge. That's enough to puncture T-Rex hide, enough to shatter ribs, enough to kill. And here's what makes it worse. Triceratops had 4-wheel drive, thick pillar-like legs planted in a wide stance. You couldn't knock it over, you couldn't flip it. A charging Triceratops was 9 tons of rage moving at 15 miles per hour, slower than T-Rex, but unstoppable once it started. You couldn't sidestep it, you couldn't out-muscle it. Fossil evidence from the Denver Museum of Nature and Science shows just how dangerous this got. A Triceratops brow horn with a fractured tip, the break pattern consistent with bone impact, not sediment damage, not scavenging. Combat. That horn hit something hard enough to crack its own structure. Most likely scenario, a T-Rex skull. T-Rex faced a challenge no modern predator deals with. Every large prey animal today has a vulnerability. Lions target the throat of buffalo, crocodiles drown wildebeest, wolves exhaust elk until they collapse. But Triceratops had no obvious weak point. The head was a fortress. Solid bone covered in keratin sheaths that added another layer of armor. The frill protected the neck, the most vulnerable target on any large animal. You couldn't bite the throat. You couldn't sever the spine. A frontal attack meant facing 3 horns and a skull that could take your leg off. Then there's the actual nightmare. A 2015 analysis of Triceratops vertebrae revealed something called stress fractures, microfractures in the neck bones from repetitive impacts. The same kind of injury you see in battering rams and woodpeckers. Triceratops wasn't just defending itself passively, it was actively ramming predators with its face. Not once, dozens of times throughout its life. Talk about evolutionary overkill. So T-Rex adapted. Instead of frontal attacks, it went for flanking maneuvers. Fossil trackways from Colorado show multiple theropod tracks circling a single ceratopsian trackway. Pack behavior? Unlikely. T-Rex was largely solitary. More likely, it was one predator testing different angles, looking for an opening that didn't exist on the front end. The strategy shifted to ambush. Paleontologist Phil Curry analyzed Triceratops remains with T-Rex bite marks concentrated on the back and sides, never the front, never the frill, always the hindquarters, where the legs met the body. Target the leg joints, disable mobility, then wait for blood loss. But even that didn't guarantee success. A Triceratops could pivot its entire body using those massive front legs as an anchor point. Turn rates calculated at 45 degrees per second, fast enough to keep horns pointed at a circling predator. You couldn't flank it if it kept rotating to face you. Fossil beds across Montana and South Dakota preserve what happened when T-Rex miscalculated. A 2012 specimen nicknamed Lane shows a Triceratops skull with healed bite marks on the frill. The bone shows infection scarring, meaning the Triceratops survived long enough for the wound to fester and heal. But here's the important detail. The bite punctures are shallow. T-Rex bit down hard enough to crack bone, but not deep enough to reach vital tissue, because the frill saved its life. Then a 2019 study proved the cost. A T-Rex vertebra discovered in Wyoming shows a puncture wound 6 inches deep, penetrating through the transverse process. The shape matches a Triceratops brow horn perfectly. Angle of entry suggests the T-Rex was standing over the Triceratops, likely going for a killing bite on the back, when the prey animal bucked upward. One thrust, right through the spine. That T-Rex didn't die immediately. Bone remodeling around the injury shows it survived weeks, maybe months. But the infection markers tell the real story. The wound became septic. Eventually, that single horn thrust killed a 9-ton apex predator, and the fossil record shows this wasn't rare. Multiple T-Rex specimens show healed injuries consistent with horn impacts. Broken ribs, punctured hips, facial wounds. One specimen from Montana has a partially healed fracture in the lower jaw, the kind of break you get from blunt force trauma. The most likely source: a sideways swipe from a Triceratops frill or horn. You couldn't afford a mistake against Triceratops. One wrong move, one failed bite, and you had 9 tons of horned fury turning on you at close range. No escape, no second chance. So how did T-Rex succeed often enough to survive? A 2021 study from the Museum of the Rockies analyzed 34 Triceratops specimens with preserved bite marks. The pattern emerged clearly. Successful kills showed bite marks clustered on the pelvis and tail base, not the neck, not the spine. Target the hip joints. Sever the femoral artery. Step back and wait. The biomechanics explain why this worked. A Triceratops could rotate to protect its front end, but it couldn't guard everywhere simultaneously. While facing the predator with its horns, the rear quarters remained exposed. A T-Rex could dart in, deliver one catastrophic bite to the hip, and retreat before the prey turned. The bite force alone, 12,800 pounds, was enough to crush the pelvis like aluminum foil. Then it became a waiting game. Triceratops couldn't apply pressure to stop the bleeding, couldn't tourniquet its own leg. Blood loss would drop it within an hour, maybe 2. T-Rex just had to follow at a safe distance until shock set in. But even this strategy had a failure rate. Fossil evidence suggests T-Rex successfully killed adult Triceratops in roughly 50% of encounters. The other 50%, the prey survived, or the predator gave up, or the battle went so wrong the T-Rex took damage that shortened its lifespan. This wasn't lions hunting zebras. This wasn't killer whales hunting seals. This was the only predator-prey relationship in Earth's history where both animals weighed the same, both had lethal capabilities, and both regularly killed each other. T-Rex didn't hunt Triceratops because it wanted to. It hunted Triceratops because nothing else in Hell Creek offered that much meat in a single package. Edmontosaurus was abundant, sure, but it was faster, traveled in herds, and offered less reward per kill. Ankylosaurs were armored too heavily, solid bone from head to tail with a club that could shatter leg bones. Triceratops represented the highest calorie return for the effort. 6 tons of muscle, slow enough to track, abundant enough to encounter regularly. The fact that it was also the most dangerous prey animal just meant T-Rex had to get better at killing it, or starve. And the fossil record proves T-Rex did get better. Younger Triceratops skeletons show higher frequencies of fatal bite marks. Juveniles hadn't developed full horn length. Frill bones weren't completely ossified. A 4-ton adolescent Triceratops was still dangerous, but it was a softer target than a full-grown adult. This created a predation pattern. T-Rex focused on young Triceratops when possible, adult Edmontosaurus as a backup, and only targeted adult Triceratops when opportunity or desperation demanded it. The adult Triceratops with healed bite marks? Those were the survivors of failed hunts, the encounters where T-Rex tested its luck and lost. For 2 million years, this battle played out across North America. T-Rex and Triceratops evolved together, each adaptation driving counter-adaptations in the other. Stronger bite force met thicker skull bones. Faster pursuit speeds met better defensive postures. Neither species could fully overcome the other. Then, 66 million years ago, an asteroid ended the debate. Both species went extinct in the same event. The last Triceratops fossils and the last T-Rex fossils appear in the same geological layer, buried together in Hell Creek sediments. But the fossil record they left behind tells a story no other predator-prey relationship can match. This wasn't dominance. This was war, waged in real time across millions of years, with casualties on both sides. Triceratops, 9 tons with 3 horns and a skull built to ram predators to death. T-Rex, 9 tons with bone-crushing jaws and the most powerful bite force in terrestrial history. For 2 million years, they killed each other in Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. The bite marks prove it. The healed bones prove the battles were survival. That's the reality of Hell Creek. Even the apex predator couldn't win every fight.